So thinning fruit trees is really important. You're not going to have big, beautiful, juicy apples if you don't thin them out. So let me show you how many apples John thinned from our Harrelson and show you what the tree looks like right now, so you get a really good idea of how much fruit was taken off. This is the pail of apples that have been removed from the tree. That's a lot. It's probably 10 pounds at least. This is a thinned area of the Harrelson, and pretty much every single bud on this tree this year had fruit, multiple fruits. And so John has been pruning and hasn't gotten everything pruned, because I'm going to show you in a second here. Up top, you need a ladder for it. And so there are places where it's unpruned still. But generally, you really need to thin your fruit trees out so that you don't put stress on the leaves, you don't put stress on the branches, because a lot of fruit is going to really cause the branches to weigh heavy and they might crack. And then also for next year's fruit, if you don't prune enough, well, first of all, you're not going to get really big quality fruit, but you might not get any fruit production next year. And this Harrelson tree is kind of known as an every other year producer, but we still are taking back as much fruit as we can so that we have a great year, but maybe we'll get a few next year. So it's really about size of fruit, quality of fruit, and giving the plant the opportunity to making sure they have enough leaf area to really produce buds for next year, because that happens during this growing season, and without those, you're not going to get flowers next year. But there's some cases, and this is an example of a tree. These are St. Edmunds russets on the top, and we didn't have that many flowers, and so John didn't prune any of the fruits. So these are all clusters of 3, and there's only about 9 of them. But if you look at this whole tree, it's a really vigorous tree. It also has Honeycrisp on the bottom, but it's got plenty of leaf area for that amount of fruit versus the Harrelson I just showed you that has probably a couple hundred apples on it. This is our Calypso, and this is really nicely pruned. There's about 1 fruit left per fruiting spur, which is what is recommended by like extension agencies. John doesn't always follow it. You don't have to always follow it. You can see what happens. But yeah, we've got just a few fruit here and there. This is a place where more were left. But you always want to leave the most vigorous fruit, and you want to remove smaller fruits. So in this case, that one would be the one you'd remove if you wanted to pull. And I know it's hard to prune fruit off, but you're doing your tree a favor. You're doing next year a favor by pruning fruit off. And your fruit this year is going to be of a lot better quality if you prune them back and give them more room so that the tree can really focus on the fruits you do leave. This is our Snow Sweet, and it's got, you can see right here where several extra fruits have been cut off. So 2 have been left. Looks like for a lot of these, 2 were left. And you want to leave the strongest looking fruits. So when you do this, ideally you're doing this when the fruits are the size of a dime. So a little earlier, but see right here, I can see that here's a fruit that has fallen off. And some plants do this, some trees. Apples are not ones that will self-prune, but plums are known for self-pruning. And this is our plum tree. So there's some plums there. Here's some more plums in here. So typically it's what's called June drop, and plum trees are more active at dropping their own, I see a little lady beetle in there, dropping their fruits on their own, rather than with apples. We have to take a proactive stance, and we have to do it ourselves.